Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kurt, aka Muldrake. I am here to talk about Westworld. Westworld, Season 4, Episode 6. It's called Fidelity. The episode, at the time, maybe yesterday, I felt was probably the weakest of this season so far. That's not to say I didn't enjoy it, but as I've come to think about it in more general terms, I have actually come to the belief that this is a good episode and has some interesting dynamics that have kind of like blossomed over the last 24 hours in my own head. I first want to start talking about Caleb, and I think very Caleb and Frankie's focused episode this week, and it was very much a passing the torch kind of episode in some ways, but I thought that Aaron Paul did a wonderful job playing all the different iterations that he had to deal with. And one thing that Westworld does really well is convey the theme. You know, you can look at things like, the beginning of Westworld with not Christina, but with Dolores's loop that we first become accustomed to in the first season. The maze obviously was a big story point in season 1. And it has become part of the iconography of the show. Aaron Paul's Caleb here, which at first I didn't really appreciate, but I think I may be reaching too far on this, I don't know, but the way I read this was that the escape that Caleb was involved in was very much a maze in itself, and at the time of watching it, I was thinking to myself, this is a bit convoluted. This seems a bit all over the place for Caleb to escape, and it was also a bit convenient. But thinking about the way that the world has been built around, and obviously what I didn't know at the time, and it did catch me out, which I'm quite surprised at, is that it was kind of Hale's intention to allow the various different iterations to help themselves, and that's very much kind of what the maze does. So if you think about the way the maze worked in the consciousness of Dolores, you'll go through one iteration and you'd learn something new. Maeve did it as well. You go through another iteration, you'd maybe get a step further, and this was something that was kind of going through and through and through. It plays out very much like a video game in some ways as well. So seeing the arrow on the floor and having to pull that out, and then seeing the handprint, and Hale's left that because she wanted him to get to the point of actually being able to deliver that message to Frankie, as another way of manipulating Aaron Paul's character in Caleb. And I thought that overall that worked quite well, and as I say, did kind of throw me a little bit of a loop, to be honest with you. I thought Aaron Paul's portrayal in all the different versions of himself was really good, and it's not the end of what we're going to see of him either, which is we've got the iteration 279, which I'm quite surprised at, really. I thought they would have maybe left that hanging, really, because Westworld, you're always, no one dies, no character's ever gone, because they can always print more. I thought they would have maybe left his character be at that point and maybe pass the torch over to Frankie, like we see. Talking about that, so the fact that we've got this episode and the way that the path to enlightenment, and using, like, for example, Caleb, when he's in the vent and he says, use me to protect the fall, because that was the next step. I think 2 or 3 had maybe tried it and hadn't got there. But by using Caleb, that Caleb, one of the Calebs survive and obviously get to that radio tower, for Hale to realise that there's nothing that she can really do about it. But yeah, I think that worked to a degree. The only issue that I have, and I'm not saying it's a big concern of mine, I'm not even sure that it's actually designed in this way, but Hale seems to be obsessed with, what have you done to infect my hosts? In the episodes that I've watched, I've never really felt that was a mystery. I've always felt that, I know it was only really last episode, I believe, I think. I just assumed that, it's obviously, it's kind of like the Star Wars trip of, like, hope or love or something that transcends. And I did think that during the episode, that where it's a kind of love transcends all kind of idea. And I didn't think there would be any kind of virus or computer virus or anything like that would actually instill in the host. I always did think it was maybe an idea, thought, and I think those are the most powerful. I just felt that it seemed obvious that it would be something that's quite human, and something that's like, a mere thought that they've spoken to each other. I mentioned Jacob last week, about the lost illusion, but the Jacob illusion. He lost, actually. He lost. Yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. That the illusion that and that thought can give somebody that hope, or whatever that takes to drive somebody. And for Caleb, it's love of his daughter, and I thought that was good. It was good. Also, if I move on to his daughter Frankie, that we get to see Frankie for the longest period of time that we have had so far, and we get to see how astute she is and how observant she is throughout the episode, very much like her father, and has become a danger. She's understands the world that she lives in, and is able to recognize things. I did think that, and the name escapes me, but the character who was the host, the hands were drawn out a bit too easily. I think the opening credits had some backstory, and we saw him being taken out, and then the whole brother scene. It was, for me, the fact that in "Don't Call Me Brother," and then that was called back. It's a good piece of writing. I'm not denying it's a good piece of writing, but I felt that it was a bit too easily signposted for me personally. I wasn't surprised when it was him. I was guessing for a little bit when we had Bernard to go through. Well, sometimes it might even be Stubbs, which I thought was funny. I enjoyed that. I thought that was good, and the fact that there's multiple connections and possibilities and things. I've been reading some philosophical books recently, and talking about how multiple branching timelines work, or how they couldn't work, how they could work, and having these multiple iterations of people that you could, in theory, that argument's sake, that Frankie could have been born by somebody else. And obviously the Multiverse of Madness is doing that in one of the latest Marvel films, and I think just Phase 4 of Marvel as a whole is using the multiverse in that way. Yeah, and I don't know if anyone has seen Person of Interest, but I think that was done by Jonathan Nolan. And the Bernard aspect, as I was watching this, even though it was a few episodes ago, I realised just how much it was like. There's a particular episode, which the name escapes me of what it was called, but the computer in Person of Interest was actually going through all the different versions and iterations that could potentially happen as well. So there's something, there's like, an idea there which has been revisited within Bernard's story. And but having Frankie be able to like sort of recognize Bernard, shoot him, and then obviously the host that actually has taken over, I thought was good. Yeah, and I thought the Maeve storyline as well, with the different iterations that they had. I think Bernard said that there was moments where she'd wake up in, like sort of a rage and would kill Bernard and Stubbs and Frankie potentially. Can't quite remember that, but the Maeve we get is the Maeve we know. And I thought that having Maeve and Frankie together, distrust that Frankie has against hosts as well, I think will play an interesting part. Like I said before, if I'm surprised that we still have Caleb involved in the situation. Now, we've got 2 episodes. Now, whether or not we actually see Frankie meet up with her father in this and finding out her father is a host, that would be an interesting dynamic to see come together. So it was one of those things where, is it going to be a passing the torch, or is it going to be that we will see Caleb again? It looks like we are going to see Caleb that's been woken up, in the kind of the Delos sort of mode of season 2. And I thought it was interesting. I mean, Hale has gone all in baddie at the moment as well. And, we've got a lot of questions, as we always would, the transcendation stuff, if even that's even a word. I don't know if that's a word. We've got Hale transcending. We've got, Maeve and Frankie on the journey with Stubbs and Bernard now. So I think it's wrapping up. We've got 2 episodes left to go. So there is my my review or my reaction of Westworld, episode 6, season 4. And I hope you've enjoyed, and we shall see you next week.